My daughter has had at least 11 concussions and is just a shadow of her former self. Just to be clear, several of them were sustained since she stopped playing basketball, and some were classified as concussions only in retrospect. On many occasions, we chose to go to the ER, and on others, we were taken by ambulance. She was examined and CAT scanned, diagnosed, and sent home. At first, she was told to stay out for 1 or 2 days, then maybe 2 weeks without contact sports. Another doctor said wait until the headache stopped. Then they told us she had to be symptom-free for as long as she had symptoms. Well, the headaches never did stop, and that suggestion was way too subjective for a teenage athlete determined to shake it off and get back on the court. We sought the advice of various doctors and were given inconsistent information. The ER doctors and nurses were starting to consider us hysterical parents. After one vicious hit that left her unable to see for 2 minutes, the hospital was much more interested in whether the bandages that held her kneecaps in place were hiding physical abuse. They sent her home with no instructions other than to consult her doctor. Again, she was cleared to play. Over this period, we thought we were doing everything right. We didn't take the word of just one doctor, we took the word of several doctors. Many of them dismissed our concerns and made light of her injuries. In some cases, we would see the same ER doctor on subsequent visits, and though he knew her history personally, he never connected one concussion to the next. We followed everyone's instructions and were led to believe that each concussion was a standalone incident, and that once healed would have no bearing on a future blow to her head. Sometime later, when it was too late to undo, we learned that that was a fallacy. Concussions are cumulative. An already injured player doesn't need to be knocked unconscious to rattle her brain. But we didn't know that either. And we didn't know that Nikki could develop learning disabilities or chronic headaches or sensitivity to lights and sounds, depression, or even early onset dementia. Had we been armed with that information, we would have made different decisions. Sure, Nikki dreamed of playing basketball in college and hopefully many years to come, but her well-being is more important than a potential scholarship or fame. Now we are just hopeful that she can get through high school and get on to college. After yet another lengthy layoff, and even with constant headaches, Nikki was cleared to return. She had waited for that day to come, but in the first play of the first game of her sophomore year, she had a head-on-head collision at midcourt. The entire gym gasped in unison as she lay on the floor, holding her head and screaming. Everyone's heart dropped as she passed out, and we waited for the EMS to load her onto the ambulance. 4 weeks later, as she was healing from that last incident, Nikki was accidentally hit in the head with the gym door. Our athletic trainer, Mark Bramble, insisted we go right back to the ER, fearing second impact syndrome. The next couple of months were tragic. Nikki twitched for a couple of weeks. She couldn't tolerate any noise or lights. She couldn't watch TV or use the computer. She lost all interest in everything, including her friends. She cried every day for how she felt and for what she had lost. The doctors prescribed medication that helped a little, but they did not bring back the person she was before. After being out of school for many weeks, we were able to arrange home instruction, but she could barely concentrate on even one subject a day. She returned to school some months later on a shortened day with a limited course load. Towards the end of the year, she added another hour, but the strain of trying to concentrate was exhausting. Then we got lucky. Thanks to Mark Bramble, we were put in touch with Dr. Jill Brooks, who is a neuropsychologist specializing in concussions in youth athletes. She immediately reviewed Nikki's history and reclassified all of her injuries as concussions. Nikki started seeing her regularly, and we learned that her symptoms were consistent with post-concussion syndrome. After being doubted, Nikki had finally someone who understood. Dr. Brooks explained why she was feeling so badly and validated her emotional and physical response to her injuries. She continues to oversee her recovery and has been instrumental in securing us the help we need. Nikki still has difficulties in school, and even with a Section 504 plan in place, she struggles to keep up in lower classes. She has not been able to get her driver's permit. She can't ride a train, go in the ocean, or participate in any sports. She wears earplugs because noise bothers her. She is sensitive to light and cannot attend any event where there is a potential that she will be hit in the head. At this point, even a light tap the wrong way can render her unconscious. Her dad and I still hold our breath every time she leaves the house, worried that we will get a call that something has happened. Our physical and emotional struggles have been difficult on all of us, but they are more than a 16-year-old should have to bear. We got to this point because along the way the information and awareness about head injuries was limited, confusing, and contradictory. That seems to be changing now, but it needs to change more quickly and more dramatically to protect other kids from suffering. Every single school needs to have a certified athletic trainer who is educated about concussions and is strong enough to deny return to play for injured students. When we send our kids to away games, we expect that there will be proper coverage there, and anything less than 100% is unacceptable. While parents are interested in preserving their child's scholarship potential and coaches have their own agenda, the athletic trainer remains neutral, with the health of the kids his or her priority. Armed with an understanding of the fragile psyches of adolescent athletes, the trainer's value transcends treating sprains and bruises. Personally, I had to reach out to Mr. Bramble recently when I knew he was the only person in Nikki's support system who could convince her to not attend an after-school activity that could put her at risk and the administration on edge. All athletic trainers must also have computerized neurological testing available to adequately and objectively measure the degree of damage. Since Nikki's baseline, she went from the 86th percentile to negative numbers. We hope that because of her, our school will automatically renew their prescription when it ends. We have learned that standard CAT scans and MRIs are meaningless when it comes to concussions, yet parents we know still consider a negative CAT scan as permission to return to the game. Our athletic trainer has been an excellent advocate for injured students and has implemented more stringent policies. They don't always sit well with the kids' competitive natures, but they are not capable of making these decisions by themselves. Athletes must change the mindset that giving in to injuries is a sign of weakness. We as adults must be aware of the evolving information and make the right choices for the kids. I am very proud of what my daughter has accomplished this year in response to her injuries. She continues to support her teammates by attending all practices and all games and plays an active role in her own recovery. She has appeared on television and spoken at press conferences at the Capitol, and she seeks to increase awareness about concussions in our youth athletes. Nikki will never see her dream to play basketball in college come true, but maybe we can help her peers realize that it's better to miss a season than to have to face never playing again, or worse, have their lives changed forever. Thank you.